This week, we launch our own podcast. You can listen to it through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. We'll be covering stories from around the world, similar to those you see on this program, but we'll get a bit more personal and candid with our guests and correspondents. So if you're on the go, whether on the train, driving to work, or just out for a run, give us a listen and make sure to subscribe. Search online for CGTN and the Heat podcast. A tough road ahead for Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari as he begins a second four-year term leading Africa's most populous nation. Hello, I'm Anand Naidu and this is The Heat. President Buhari won a closely fought election back in February, but now comes the hard part as Nigeria's leader is faced with a daunting to-do list, tackling a range of problems including corruption, an economic slowdown and security threats. Nigerians may have given Buhari another chance, but can he make a real difference this second time round? For more, let's go to Phil Ihaza in Abuja. And Phil, what are Nigerians expecting from Buhari's second term?
Well, as it is, of course, many Nigerians will be expecting a better four-year tenure from the President Muhammadu Buhari, especially on the back of promises that he got into power since 2015. It was a lot of expectations, hopes, placed on the table as the president came into power, especially as he has quite a number of experience, an amount of experience in tackling security. He's a former military ruler, and that was one of the major reasons why many citizens or many voters elected the president at the time, because Nigeria has been faced with an ongoing war, a decade-long insurgency in the northern part of the country, but then it's been 4 years after, and we're still seeing several attacks, threats there in the northern part of the country, especially in the northeast. According to the Amnesty International, over 20,000 people have been killed and close to 2 million more have been displaced by the conflict. There's also a range of other issues in economy. Nigeria currently is the world's poorest capital. That means it has close to 100 million people living in extreme poverty, according to the World Poverty Clock. There's also the issue of corruption. So there's quite a lot of to-do list, as you put it, for the president. It's actually a huge task for him in the next 4 years, which happens to be his last, according to the Constitution.
Phil, as you point out, security remains a major concern for Nigeria. Has the president given any idea of how he's planning to deal with the security threats the country is facing?
Well, so far there's no clear plan. Of course, even if he had a plan for security reasons, they'll definitely want to ensure that that plan is executed and, the results are on the table before he can discuss those plans, because recently we had the president meet with all the northern governors in Nigeria, talking about the three geopolitical zones in the northern part of the country, the northeast, the northwest, and the north central. All the governors met with the president to share ideas, bring up suggestions and recommendations of how these issues can be tackled, because we're not looking at just the insurgency issue in the northern part of the country. We now have some growing threats of kidnappings, banditry, and herders-farmers clashes in the northern part of the country. So all of these issues, and of course, it's beginning to affect the southern part of the country as well. So the entire country is in dire need of some sort of solution. The president has assured Nigerians repeatedly that he is going to ensure that all of these security issues are tackled. But when that would occur, no one knows, but we're just expecting, people are expectant. If you go on the streets, they're excited and hopeful that the next 4 years will be way better, especially learning from the experience that he must have had in the past 4 years.
Thanks, Phil. That's Phil Ihaza reporting there from Abuja in Nigeria.